Let's face it, getting poor quality products or dealing with terrible customer service can feel like a total nightmare, especially if you're investing in building a print-on-demand business. Comments like scam, ruined shirts, and horrible customer service are unfortunately common experiences that some people share when they've picked the wrong service. It's frustrating, right? That's why choosing the right print-on-demand company for your store is so important. But how do you figure out which one is the best fit for you? That's exactly what I'm here to help with today. I've worked with a variety of print-on-demand companies over the years, so I've got plenty of first-hand experience. Plus, I've taken it a step further and ordered a bunch of samples from some of the most popular services, Printify, Printful, and Gelato, so we can compare them together. And let me tell you, some of the results might surprise you, especially when it comes to Printify and Gelato. So, to kick things off, I'm going to dive into a very honest and detailed review of Printify. There's a specific reason I wanted to start with them. There's a lot of misinformation floating around about how they work, and I think it's time to clear things up. There's quite a bit of confusion floating around about Printify online. A lot of people mistakenly think that Printify handles the printing and shipping of the products they sell, but that's not the case. Instead, Printify works with third-party printing companies to get your designs printed and shipped. It's a system I like to compare to Uber Eats, but for print on demand. Unfortunately, this misunderstanding often leads to bad reviews. People blame Printify for late or low-quality products, not realizing that the actual work is being done by a separate print provider. Once you understand how the system works, things start to make a lot more sense. Let me quickly explain how Printify operates. It's one of the most popular print-on-demand apps out there, and for good reason, it's simple to use. You start by creating a free account and connecting it to your store. Printify integrates with all the big e-commerce platforms like Shopify, WooCommerce, Etsy, and eBay, so chances are it'll work with whatever platform you're using. From there, you browse their catalog of blank products. Printify offers a massive selection, and you can customize anything from t-shirts to mugs to more unique items. The process is straightforward and user-friendly, making it a go-to choice for a lot of online businesses. When it comes to product variety, Printify stands out as the clear winner among the big three print-on-demand apps. With over 900 different products in their catalog, they have the largest selection by far. From popular items like t-shirts and mugs to more niche and unique offerings, there's something for almost any store. For instance, if you browse their tech accessories section, you'll find items like Bluetooth speakers, customizable watch straps, and mobile phone stands. These are things you won't see on other platforms like Printful or Gelato. They simply don't carry them. So, if you're looking for variety or unique products to differentiate your store, Printify is hard to beat. Once you've chosen a product, customizing it is straightforward. You just upload your design, position it where you want it, and that's it. It's ready to be added to your store. I've been using Printify for years, and I've seen their product creation tool improve dramatically over time. What used to feel a bit clunky has evolved into a smooth, feature-rich experience that makes designing products quick and easy. Printify's product creation tool has come a long way. It's gone from being just usable to something truly impressive. Honestly, I could probably spend 30 minutes diving into every single feature it offers, but I'll spare you the deep dive. Instead, here's what you need to know. It's packed with all the handy features you'd want to make the design process as smooth as possible. For example, it has one-click buttons to resize and automatically place your designs perfectly. No need to fiddle around endlessly trying to get the placement just right. It handles it for you. Plus, for the more popular products, there's a huge selection of mock-up photos included, which makes showcasing your products so much easier. In terms of usability, I'd say Printify and Printful are neck and neck for having the best product editors. They're both intuitive and powerful, making them great tools to bring your ideas to life. Once your product is ready, it's simple to list it in your store, just connect it, upload the design, and set your selling price. Whenever a customer places an order, Printify takes care of the rest, charging your payment method for the base price and shipping while handling the printing and fulfillment for you. It's a smooth, low-risk way to run your store. Here's how Printify works in a nutshell. When a customer places an order, Printify charges you the base price of the product plus shipping. Then, the order is sent to a print shop in their network, where the design is printed, packaged, and shipped directly to your customer. The difference between what you charge your customer and what you pay to Printify is your profit. This is one of the biggest perks of print on demand. It's a low-risk way to run a business since you only pay for a product after you've already sold it. For me, this setup has been pretty passive. Once I've set everything up, most of the process runs on autopilot. The only thing I've needed to manage is answering occasional customer emails. Printify takes care of the rest. Now, you might wonder why I've had a smooth experience while some people have had less than stellar ones. Well, as I mentioned earlier, Printify functions like Uber Eats. Just like Uber Eats doesn't cook your food, Printify doesn't actually make or ship your products. They're a platform connecting you to third-party print providers. So, if there's an issue with an order, it's often because of the print shop handling that particular product, not Printify itself. Understanding this distinction can make a huge difference in setting realistic expectations. Think about it this way. If you get a bad burger from Uber Eats, you don't blame Uber Eats itself. You'd leave a review for the specific restaurant that made the burger. That's exactly how Printify works. Printify doesn't actually print or ship your products. They're not a printing company at all. They're a tech company that provides a platform connecting you to print-on-demand providers around the world. With over 100 different print shops listing their services on the Printify platform, they've built an incredibly diverse catalog. This setup is why Printify offers such a vast range of products. They don't need factories or warehouses themselves. Instead, their partners handle the printing, storing, and shipping. This global network of print shops spans regions like the USA, Canada, Europe, Asia, and South America, making it a fantastic option for stores targeting an international audience. If you're running a global store, having access to partners located near your customers can be a huge advantage in terms of shipping times and costs. Now, let's compare Printify to Printful, another major player in the print-on-demand space. Printful operates differently. Unlike Printify, they have their own warehouses and printing facilities. That means when you buy a product from Printful, they're the ones making and shipping it. With Printify, on the other hand, you're working with third-party partners, which comes with its own set of pros and cons. For instance, let's say you're planning to sell one of the most popular print-on-demand products, the Bella Plus Canvas 3001 t-shirt. With Printify, you have two options. You can let Printify automatically select a supplier for you from their network, or you can manually choose one yourself. Personally, I always recommend selecting your supplier manually, and here's why. Different print providers offer varying levels of quality, shipping options, and even pricing. When you manually pick a supplier, you can compare factors like the colors they offer, customer ratings, and performance metrics to make sure you're getting exactly what you need. This extra level of control can make a big difference, especially for products that are popular or high-volume sellers. One of the great things about Printify is the ability to compare print providers to find the one that fits your needs. For example, each provider may offer a slightly different range of t-shirt colors, so you can choose the one that matches the color options you want to sell. But here's the flip side. The quality of printing can vary significantly between providers. To test this out, I ordered t-shirts from 3 different Printify partners, Monster Digital, SwiftPod, and Fulfill Engine, all using the same design. It was a cute little cartoon of a Swedish valhund eating ramen, inspired by my own dog. Side note, he's adorable, but let's stay on topic. Of the 3, Monster Digital came out on top by far. The colors were vibrant and matched the original design perfectly. The print quality was smooth with no sticky or raised texture. It felt professional and well made. When I checked, Monster Digital had a performance rating of 9.4 out of 10, the highest of the 3. It's worth noting that this performance score isn't based on user reviews. Instead, it's calculated using metrics like on-time delivery, complaint rates, and production speed. While it's not a perfect measure, it can be a helpful starting point when choosing a provider. The performance ratings on Printify are automatically generated using metrics like complaint rates, on-time delivery, and production speed. While they're not always the ultimate measure of quality, they're definitely a helpful tool when choosing a supplier. It didn't surprise me at all that Monster Digital came out on top. They're based in Miami and also operate under the name TSC Miami. Over the years, they've become my go-to Printify partner for clothing because their quality has consistently been excellent. Every experience I've had with them has been positive, and they've definitely earned that top spot in my book. Now, in second place came Fulfill Engine. Their print quality wasn't terrible, but it was noticeably worse than Monster Digital's. The colors looked darker and more washed out than they should have, which made the design feel less vibrant and engaging. It's not the kind of result I'd want to send to customers. Even though Fulfill Engine's t-shirt was darker and washed out compared to Monster Digital's, they were charging $14.30 per shirt, more than what Monster Digital charges. This is a great reminder that a higher price doesn't always mean better quality. Now, SwiftPod came in last place for me, and I know that might be a bit controversial. SwiftPod has a solid fan base, and many people on YouTube highly recommend them. So let me clarify. Just because my experience with SwiftPod wasn't great this time doesn't mean they always produce bad quality. Production isn't a perfect process, and mistakes happen. It's entirely possible that I just got unlucky and received a bad batch. This is why I always suggest doing thorough research when choosing a print-on-demand company or specific print shop. Look at multiple reviews, especially from people who've worked with a supplier consistently over time. A single bad sample doesn't tell the full story. but it's still worth noting as part of the overall picture. When deciding on a print-on-demand supplier, it's important not to base your decision on just one review, mine included. Instead, look for multiple reviews, especially from people who've ordered in large quantities. A single sample can tell you something, but seeing how a supplier performs consistently over hundreds or thousands of orders is much more reliable. That said, let's get back to the t-shirts. SwiftPod came in last for me because the colors were far too vibrant. For example, the ramen bowl in my design turned out bright red when it should have been more of a subdued crimson. On the flip side, Fulfill Engine's print was washed out and darker than it should have been. Depending on what you prioritize, you might find either one worse, but for me, SwiftPod's overly vibrant result didn't hit the mark. This kind of inconsistency often comes down to the pre-treatment process that happens before a t-shirt is printed. If the process is overdone or not done correctly, the ink can bond too intensely, making the colors overly vibrant and the print feel slightly raised or sticky. That's what seemed to happen here, and while it might not bother some customers, it's not the level of quality I'd aim for in my store. The SwiftPod t-shirt also had another issue. The print felt raised and slightly sticky, which isn't ideal. This texture might not show up well on camera, but in person, it's noticeable. While SwiftPod's t-shirts are priced similarly to Monster Digital's at around $14, the quality just didn't compare. That said, SwiftPod has a 9.1 out of 10 rating on Printify, which is fairly close to Monster Digital's, so it's clear that some people still choose them, perhaps for reasons like a wider range of available colors. This highlights why reviews for Printify can vary so much. Choosing the right print shop makes all the difference. If you pick a good one, your customers will likely be happy. If not, it can lead to disappointment. With that said, let's shift gears and take a closer look at Printful, the second major player in the print-on-demand space. Printful and Printify often get compared because of their similar names, but they're quite different in how they operate. Let's dive into that. Printful and Printify might sound similar, but they're completely different apps and companies. In fact, Printful is the older of the two, and is considered one of the original print-on-demand platforms. It's been around since the very beginning of the industry. Unlike Printify, Printful owns its own internal print shops and facilities. That means when you order from Printful, their team handles the entire process, from printing to shipping. This setup has its own set of pros and cons, depending on what you value in a print-on-demand partner. The good news is that Printful is simple to use. You just create a free account, connect your store, and start adding products. Printful integrates with nearly all major e-commerce platforms, including Etsy, Shopify, WooCommerce, and eBay. Once your store is connected, you can browse their catalog of blank items to customize and sell. While Printful's selection isn't as large as Printify's, it's still impressive. They offer over 300 products, ranging from classic options like t-shirts and mugs to more unique items. I've been using Printful for years, and I've been consistently impressed by how quickly they've expanded their product catalog and improved their services. Over time, Printful's catalog has grown significantly. When I first started using them, they offered around 150 items. Now their selection is much broader, and while it's still smaller than Printify's, they do have some exclusive items that you won't find on Printify. For example, Printful offers a stylish tie-dye hoodie, whereas Printify currently only has tie-dye t-shirts, sweatshirts, and tank tops. Once you've picked a product, customizing it is straightforward. Like Printify, Printful's product editor is packed with features. Honestly, I could spend ages diving into all the details, but let's keep it simple. It has all the key quality of life features you'd expect. You can easily place your design with automated tools that ensure perfect alignment, and they provide a wide variety of mock-up photos, especially for popular products. After customizing, you can push the product directly into your store, set your market price, and start selling. When a customer places an order, Printful handles the rest, from printing to shipping. It's all seamless, making it a great option if you value simplicity and control. When a customer places an order through your store, Printful automatically steps in. They'll charge your card for the base cost of the product and shipping, then print, package, and ship it directly to your customer. The difference between the base cost and your selling price is your profit. It's simple and efficient. In my experience, Printful has been fantastic. I've been using them for years, and it's felt like they've been running my store on autopilot, because Printful handles everything in-house, from printing to fulfillment. The quality has consistently been high. You don't have to worry about choosing or vetting print shops for each new product. Everything is streamlined. If you're selling globally, Printful is also a great option. Over the years, they've expanded their reach with production facilities in multiple countries, making it easier to cater to customers worldwide. Their mix of in-house facilities and strategic partnerships ensures faster shipping times and lower costs for international orders. It's been an extremely convenient solution for my business, and the consistent quality has been a major plus. While Printful's in-house facilities consistently produce high-quality products, my experience with their partner facilities hasn't been as great. Thankfully, Printful allows you to disable partner production in your settings, so I've chosen to stick with their in-house print shops for better reliability. It's also worth noting that Printful's global facilities generally stock only their best-selling items, not their niche products. For most sellers, this is perfectly fine since the popular items are usually what customers want. However, all of this convenience and quality comes at a price. Printful's products are generally more expensive than similar items on Printify. For example, the Bella Plus Canvas 3001 t-shirt starts at $11.50 for a medium on Printful, whereas Monster Digital on Printify charges $10.42 for the same shirt. That difference can add up over time, especially if you're selling in volume. Keep in mind that these prices are before any membership discounts, which all three platforms, Printful, Printify, and Gelato, offer. These memberships can significantly lower your costs, but the base price comparison still highlights that Printify often comes out cheaper. Membership discounts on platforms like Printful, Printify, and Gelato can make a big difference in your costs, but they're optional. It only makes sense to subscribe if your sales volume justifies the expense. These memberships typically cost around $24 to $29 a month, but the savings can add up quickly. For example, with a Printful membership, the price of the Bella Plus Canvas 3001 t-shirt drops to $10.30. If you're selling at least 13 t-shirts a month, the membership pays for itself. However, even with the discount, Monster Digital on Printify offers the same shirt for $9.32, which is still over $1 cheaper. That's why it's so important to compare pricing for the specific items you want to sell. The differences between platforms can be surprising. Take Kiss Cut stickers as an example. Printful's smallest 3x 3-inch sticker costs $2.20 before discounts, while Printify's Spoke Custom Products offers a 2x 2-inch sticker for $1.45. If you upgrade to a 3x3 sticker with Spoke, it's still only $1.61, a significant saving compared to Printful. Pricing varies by product and provider, so doing a bit of research beforehand can really help you maximize your profits. Printify can offer some incredible deals, like their 3x3 stickers from Spoke Custom Products for just $1.61 before discounts, which is about 25% cheaper than comparable items on Printful. However, it's important to be cautious because lower prices on Printify don't always tell the full story. For instance, take stainless steel water bottles. Printful's cheapest option starts at $19.95, whereas Printify lists one for just $9.28, which drops to $6.83 with discounts. Sounds like an amazing deal, right? But if you dig a little deeper, you'll notice that the supplier for this bottle, Duplum, doesn't have a great rating. While this might work well if your primary market is in Canada, where the supplier is based, it might not be the best choice for a US-focused store. This highlights the importance of balancing cost with reliability and market fit. If most of your customers are in the US, for example, it's better to focus on well-rated suppliers with efficient shipping to that region. Always prioritize quality and customer satisfaction over chasing the lowest price. It's worth it in the long run. While Printify often offers lower prices, it's essential to dig deeper and evaluate each item individually. Sometimes the cheaper option may come with compromises, such as lower supplier ratings or less reliable service. On the other hand, while Printful is generally more expensive, it offers its own advantages, especially in quality and consistency. For example, I compared a t-shirt I received from Printful with one from Printify's Monster Digital. Both were good, but Monster Digital's print quality was slightly superior. The maroon red in the design was more accurate on the Monster Digital shirt, while the Printful shirt had a slightly more crimson hue. That said, the difference was minor. Most customers probably wouldn't notice, and as long as they liked the design itself, they'd likely give the Printful shirt a glowing review. So, which is better, Printify or Printful? The answer depends on what you're looking for. The first step is to go through each platform's catalog and see which products suit your store best. Some products might only be available on one platform, making your decision easier. For others, you'll need to weigh factors like pricing, quality, and the reliability of the supplier. It's all about finding what works best for your business and your customers. Sometimes the choice between Printify and Printful boils down to whether one of them has the specific product you want to sell. If only one platform carries the item, then the decision is easy. But if both offer what you're looking for, like a t-shirt for example, Printify is usually 5 to 25% cheaper when you choose a well-rated and reasonably priced supplier. That price difference can be significant, especially if your profit margins are tight. On the other hand, Printful offers the convenience of working directly with one company that handles everything in-house. Their consistent quality and global printing facilities make them a solid choice for people who prioritize simplicity and reliability. Personally, I value that convenience, which is why I use Printful alongside Printify in my business. I'm willing to pay a bit more for the peace of mind it provides. That said, I understand that many people prioritize price over convenience. If that's the case, Printify is often the go-to platform. It really comes down to what works best for your business model and priorities. All right, I know this has been pretty technical so far, with a lot of comparisons on price and print quality, so thanks for sticking with me. But now, things are about to get a little more dramatic as I dive into my honest review of Gelato. Gelato has quickly become one of the most talked about print-on-demand suppliers and seems to be climbing its way into the top 3. A lot of that buzz might come from their heavy sponsorship of videos on YouTube, which has led to more people asking for my thoughts on them. Here's my take. I don't care how good or cheap Gelato's products might seem. Why? Because I don't trust their ability to maintain quality control, and it all comes down to a lack of transparency. To me, Gelato feels like the Mr. Beast burger of print-on-demand, and that's not necessarily a good thing. I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment. That said, I did include Gelato in my t-shirt comparison so we could take an honest look at how their printing quality stacks up. Let's dive in. Gelato operates in a similar way to Printify and Printful. You create a free account, integrate it with your store, and start customizing products. However, since Gelato is a newer platform, it has fewer integration options. For example, while Printify and Printful both work with eBay, Gelato doesn't, which might be a deal breaker for some users. If your store is compatible with Gelato, the next step is to browse their product catalog. But if you've used Printify or Printful before, you'll quickly notice that Gelato's catalog is much smaller. They don't offer the quirky niche items like car seat covers or Bluetooth speakers that Printify does, and they lack the unique clothing options like Printful's tie-dye hoodies. Instead, Gelato focuses on a more streamlined approach, offering the industry's most popular products. While their selection may be limited compared to the other two, it includes the essentials that most sellers are looking for. This focus can be a plus for those who just want to stick to the basics, but it may feel restrictive if you're looking for more variety or unique products. Gelato seems to have adopted a greatest hits strategy by focusing on the most popular print-on-demand products like classic t-shirts and white mugs. Honestly, I think this approach makes a lot of sense. These products are the bread and butter of the industry, what most people want to sell because they're consistent moneymakers. This streamlined approach also seems to have a pricing advantage. For instance, Gelato's Bella Plus Canvas 3001 t-shirt sells for $10.12 with a US shipping cost of $4.66, totaling $14.78 before any membership discounts. That's cheaper than Printful, whose version costs $16.19 including shipping, and even slightly less expensive than Printify's Monster Digital option, which totals $15.41 before discounts. If you're focused on popular items and competitive pricing, Gelato could be a solid option. However, it's worth remembering that their narrower product selection means fewer opportunities to stand out with unique or niche items. It's all about what fits your business strategy best. While Gelato's pricing is often cheaper than Printful and competitive with Printify, it's still essential to check each item individually, especially if you're considering a membership discount. Their overall pricing strategy is appealing, particularly for popular products, but it's worth doing a bit of research to make sure it aligns with your needs. As for customizing products, Gelato's design tool gets the job done, but I found it to be slower and less user-friendly compared to Printify and Printful. It's not a deal breaker, it works fine, but among the three, it feels the least polished. Once you've created your product, you can easily add it to your store, set your price, and start selling. When a customer places an order, Gelato's print shop takes care of the rest, printing the design, packaging it, and shipping it to your customer. You keep the difference as profit, just like with other print-on-demand platforms. However, as I've mentioned before, my main concern with Gelato isn't pricing or product quality, it's their lack of transparency in how they handle production, which makes it harder to ensure consistent quality. I'll explain more about why this matters shortly. Here's why I personally don't use Gelato as my print-on-demand provider. Like Printify, Gelato doesn't make or ship the products themselves. Instead, they work with production partners. That in itself isn't a problem. Printify does the same thing. But the issue is how Gelato handles transparency. With Printify, you can see a full list of their production partners, along with ratings and other details, and even choose which specific partner will produce your products. This level of control allows you to ensure consistent quality for your customers. Gelato, on the other hand, keeps their production partners completely anonymous. If you check a product page like their Bella Plus Canvas 3001 t-shirt, it might tell you how many countries their partner facilities are located in, say 13 countries, but that's it. You have no way of knowing which print shop is making your products or if their quality standards meet your expectations. This lack of transparency feels risky to me, as it makes it impossible to control or evaluate the quality of the production process. It's a setup that reminds me of Mr. Beast Burger, where anonymous partners produce and deliver products, sometimes leading to inconsistent quality. That's why, no matter how competitive Gelato's pricing or product lineup might be, I can't trust them enough to use them for my store. If you're not familiar with how Mr. Beast Burger works, it's a great comparison to Gelato's setup. When Mr. Beast, the world's largest YouTuber, launched his burger brand, he didn't open physical restaurants. Instead, he partnered with a company called Virtual Dining Concepts, which uses a network of existing restaurants to produce and deliver their branded meals. Here's how it works. Let's say a nearby restaurant, like Denny's, signs up with Virtual Dining Concepts. On the side, that Denny's can prepare and deliver branded items like Mr. Beast Burgers. When someone orders through a delivery app like Uber Eats, the burger isn't coming from an actual Mr. Beast Burger location. It's made in the kitchen of a local restaurant, rebranded, and sent out anonymously. This model worked fantastically at first, allowing Mr. Beast to sell over 1 million burgers quickly by leveraging thousands of existing kitchens. But as time went on, the inconsistency of the system became apparent. Some restaurants produced high-quality food, while others, not so much. The lack of uniform standards led to wildly different experiences for customers, damaging the brand's reputation over time. This is why Gelato reminds me of Mr. Beast Burger. By keeping their production partners anonymous, Gelato creates a similar issue: inconsistent quality. Some customers may receive excellent products, while others might not be so lucky, all depending on which undisclosed print partner ends up producing their order. It's a gamble, and that's why I find this lack of transparency a deal breaker. Over time, the issues with Mr. Beast Burger became clear. Because the brand relied on anonymous third-party kitchens, the quality varied wildly. Some restaurants made great burgers, while others didn't. Customers began leaving negative reviews, pointing out how inconsistent the food was. In some cases, the burgers were so poorly made that they were inedible. Things escalated to the point where Mr. Beast himself sued Virtual Dining Concepts, claiming the poor quality control from these anonymous kitchens had damaged his brand's reputation. He even said he regretted using this model and called it a massive mistake. In response, Virtual Dining Concepts countersued for breach of contract, and the whole situation turned into a disaster. The lesson here is clear. Working with anonymous partners makes it nearly impossible to maintain consistent quality, and that's why I'm so hesitant to use Gelato. Call me a control freak, but I want to know exactly who is making and shipping my products. With Gelato, I don't have that option. When I ordered a t-shirt from them, I couldn't choose the print shop. It was assigned randomly. That lack of transparency and control is a big red flag for me. When I ordered a t-shirt from Gelato, it was redirected to a local print partner in New Zealand, which is where I live. This is worth mentioning because despite their anonymous network, Gelato does stand out for its international selection. They're the only one of the big 3 apps to have at least one print shop in New Zealand, which is impressive. On top of that, Gelato offers some of the cheapest production and shipping costs for niche international markets. If your store serves markets like New Zealand, you might find Gelato to be an excellent choice. For me, the t-shirt arrived incredibly fast because it was printed and shipped locally, and I can see how this would appeal to sellers prioritizing speed and affordability in international markets. As for the t-shirt itself, most customers would probably be satisfied with it. The colors were quite similar to those from Printful, although the lighting in photos might not fully do it justice. However, the print texture was noticeably different. It felt slightly raised and had a sticky feel to it. While this might not bother most people, it's a detail that stood out to me as someone who focuses heavily on quality control. The slightly raised and sticky feel of the Gelato t-shirt's print was much milder than SwiftPod's, which I've mentioned before. This texture might be due to an excessive pre-treatment process causing the ink to bond more intensely. That said, I genuinely believe most customers would be happy with the t-shirt they received. It's perfectly acceptable for most use cases. However, there's a bigger issue with my review, and that's its limited relevance. Why? Because Gelato's lack of transparency means your experience could be completely different from mine. For example, I don't know how many print shops Gelato works with in New Zealand. There could be one, or there could be several, and if there are multiple, the quality of the t-shirt might vary depending on which shop fulfills your order. If you're based in the US, the situation becomes even more unpredictable. Gelato has a network of anonymous print shops across the country, and without knowing which one is producing your products, maintaining consistent quality becomes a challenge. This inconsistency is my biggest concern with Gelato. While some customers might get great results, others could have less satisfactory experiences, all because of the random assignment of print providers. Shipping consistency is a big concern with Gelato. Since the print shops they use are assigned anonymously, the quality of your t-shirts could vary widely. Some shops may deliver excellent products, while others may fall short. For me, this unpredictability is a nightmare for quality control, and unless Gelato becomes more transparent about their production partners, I'm not personally interested in using them. So, which platform is the best? The truth is, none of them are inherently better than the others, they're just different. Each has its own pros and cons, and the right choice depends on your specific needs and priorities. One important thing to remember is that you don't have to stick to just one platform. For example, if you have a lot of customers in Australia and New Zealand buying mugs, Gelato might be a great choice because of their local production partners, which can lower printing and shipping costs. Meanwhile, if most of your t-shirt sales come from the US, Printify with Monster Digital could be the better option for consistent quality. The best approach is to mix and match platforms to optimize for quality, cost, and convenience across your product range. This way, you can build a system that works best for your store and your customers. If you can't find a good, affordable supplier for a specific product on one platform, you can always turn to another. For example, maybe Printify doesn't have a suitable supplier for drink bottles. No problem. You could use Printful for those. The flexibility to mix and match platforms allows you to optimize your business for both quality and cost. Now, let's do a quick final ranking for the t-shirts I reviewed. Last place. SwiftPod, Printify. The print was overly textured and far too bright. Fourth place. Fulfill Engine, Printify. The print was overly dark and washed out. Third place. Gelato. A solid option with quality close to the second place. Second place. Printful, just edged out Gelato with slightly better overall quality. First place. Monster Digital, Printify. Consistently the best, with vibrant colors and a smooth print. Interestingly, Printify managed to claim both the first and last spots, highlighting the importance of choosing the right supplier within their platform. If you're interested in more tips about designing and selling print-on-demand products, I've got plenty more content coming up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.